Hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. Just want to give you a quick update about Solana because I had a few questions about, making an updated video after Bitcoin's last move, and we're going to start here straight away with the Solana chart. As you can see, we're currently trading around $200. It's just refreshing the chart, I think. There you go. $200, and we are, in my view, again back in a short-term downtrend here. So it started to look good really again. First of all, where do we come from? We come from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern here to the upside. This formed, in my view, part of a larger wave 3, sorry. We came down in a wave 4 correction. I did assume it was over that wave 4 correction because we were starting to go up into the next target area between 310 and 345 US dollars. However, obviously Bitcoin's last major move to the downside has stopped that from happening, at least temporarily. So I really want to give you an update about where we could be coming from. As you might know, with the Elliott wave method, after wave 4 you get a wave 5, after which you get a major or a larger correction down there. In previous videos I gave you two scenarios as well. So we said, look, I primarily expect, given all circumstances being similar, that we will continue our way up into this target range up here to complete that wave 5, which would also be the beginning of a new even larger wave 1 and the finalization of this wave 5 here in pink. So again, all of that would be the beginning of a larger wave 1 in my wave count here, but this was now interrupted obviously by Bitcoin's latest move down. I did tell you before, if we drop below $175 to $178, that scenario will be invalidated, that bullish scenario. Now we're holding this level really impressively well. As you can see, we're still not below 178. We came exactly to 178, which is the top of that wave 1, by the way. And 175, I think, is the top of that wave. No, 175. Maybe it was 178 that I told you. Anyway, we didn't come below that level, and we held it really, really well so far. We've since then recovered a little bit back above this ascending trend line that you can see here at around $200. So what is possible? I think, as I said in the Bitcoin Cardano video, I did say that I expect Bitcoin to recover quite a lot before it will come down once more. That's only my view. I could be wrong. I'm actually happy to be wrong because that will indicate much lower prices in the medium term for Bitcoin and then also for the altcoins. So one scenario is still, because this bullish scenario hasn't been invalidated yet, that in Bitcoin's recovery, Solana would outperform Bitcoin and then will reach that level. However, I feel that is quite unlikely if I assume Bitcoin will only go up to around maybe 55 to 60, maybe a little bit higher, and then come down further. So based on that scenario, I would expect maybe Solana to get up to 260 or so, or maybe even the previous high at 240, and then drop again, because it wouldn't be able to reach this level there. Okay, this would assume the level 5, the wave 5 has already been completed here, and I would need to look at the wave count again. This would then assume that we will come not directly into this correction move. We won't go through this move here, so we will not create new all-time highs before we have the correction. That indicates we've already seen the all-time highs. That is what I would now prefer, or not only prefer, actually not prefer, but I would think that is more likely that we actually go down straight away without making the move through this higher level before we then go down. This, to be honest, also didn't make much sense. I did tell you before, I couldn't really fit it in, because why, if we assumed, in this scenario, in this more bullish scenario, this would have meant that we're going to reach, $310 to $345, and then have a larger correction. But in that scenario, I would have expected Bitcoin to hit like 100K, but again, with 100K Bitcoin, I would expect Solana to be much higher. So this didn't make much sense to me, and I did tell you before, it didn't make much sense, because having that here and then a larger correction didn't really fit in. Now it starts to make sense, but then we take that out, because I knew based on the count, a correction would be coming at some point, either here or straight away, which is why I had these arrows on the chart. Now it makes sense with Bitcoin possibly dropping to around 30K. And again, watch my Bitcoin video if you're wondering why I'm talking about that. if Bitcoin goes down straight away to that, then Solana will go straight away down to that as well. That is my view then. And then it suddenly starts to make sense, this larger correction here. Otherwise, I would have struggled to fit it in, because in a bullish scenario with Bitcoin hitting 70, 75K, how would that make sense then to hit for Solana to go down eventually? Yeah, it wouldn't have made much sense. Now it starts to make more sense in the overall picture. Now, where would I now expect Solana to go into? Let's take a look at that. And by the way, it's still possible to hit these levels before we have a correction, but in both scenarios, we would see a correction, quite a steep correction for Solana. So that correction, I put the fib levels from that larger wave here onto the chart, and we would get into this level between the 0.5 at 130, and I think even though it sounds a bit crazy, the 0.786 fib level, right? Sorry to give you these news, but that is what we would have to expect. And again, I put them on a chart. I find at least the lower one really, really low, but this is what we would have to assume based on the Elliott wave counts. So you would hit these areas, and possibly, possibly we'll only reach 130, which, to be honest, I think is the most likely one for me, because that is also the 0.5 fib level. Well, below that, you've got the 0.618 at $100. This would I think be fairly likely as well, to hit the 0.618, but to go down all the way to the 0.786 at $57, I find highly unlikely. But this is what we would need to assume based on wave counts and ideal target levels. I actually have the old one already here, so I'll take that out, because this is now going faster than I thought. I would have thought that we finally have another push up here. Pretty much like Ethereum, I did expect another move up before we see a correction. But then again, this wouldn't have been enough to really push to the expected levels that Bitcoin would be expected to do in another bull run, like the 100 and 150K. It didn't fit together. But if we take the way through a major correction before we then go up to levels like 400, 500, 600 for Solana, and for Bitcoin, that would mean, 100, 150K. For Ethereum, maybe 8, 9K. But we need to move the way now around this corrective move. And to be honest, now I need to look at everything in the light of Bitcoin, as always. And I probably some of these more bearish scenarios or short-term bearish scenarios will get activated. Overall, still extremely bullish, of course, on the crypto market, on Bitcoin as well. But we have to go the way probably through a corrective phase. And as I said, this scenario up here is probably getting less likely now, because we have to go straight away through the correction. So this might be not happening now, but expect some moves up, expect some moves up in the short term while Bitcoin is basically correcting to the upside after that impulsive wave down. I think Solana will do the same, maybe moving up to the previous high at 240 or even 260, which is the all-time high, before we then come down into that level. As I said in my Bitcoin video, in that retracement to the upside, or that, basically look at the other way around, this move up, that would be one opportunity to get out of some positions. If you believe in this scenario, if you assume this will be happening, I personally am not sure yet if I'm going to sell anything when we go up higher before we come down, because the crypto market is very unpredictable. But it's important to be prepared for that and to mentally prepare, and possibly to set some stop losses. That's up to you. But maybe I will reduce my risk in and take some positions out, take some profits when we move up once more before we then come down into this corrective move. These would also be great prices to get into Solana for everybody who's missed it in this bull run. And then after that, we can expect with a nice new structure, much higher prices, because this would be, as I said, this is the major wave 1 here, that purple one. So this is a wave 2, so that can take quite a bit until we get down here. And a wave 2 can come down quite a bit, actually. Whoops. This is what I expect for Solana. So hopefully you liked that update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.